Hi, my name is Leah Day, and welcome to this video for the Building Blocks Quilt Along. Today we're stitching out circles and wiggles within one of our basket blocks. It's a lot of review here, things that we've done before, but applying it all to our beautiful basket block is really going to stitch it up a notch. So let's get started. So here's our quilting design for this block, and you can see it's lots of these wiggly lines and circles through the entire block. And if you're looking for this design, you can find it in the Building Blocks quilt pattern available at leahday.com. So for marking this block, I actually used my handy dandy circle template again. You can find these at Staples, Office Max. Most office supply stores will have a drafting section. And I used the 1-inch circles to mark all of those really accurately on my quilt block. I also marked these straight lines just simply so that way they were really nicely laid out within the block and accurately marked, so that way I could stitch them nicely. The one thing I didn't mark, I didn't feel a need to mark these wiggly lines. I think that these are easy enough to just wiggle in there, and even if they're not stitched perfectly, hey, you know, that's kind of your cheat, your time-saving part of this block. It can be pretty time-consuming to get these circles in there just right, so it's nice when you have a spot that you can kind of flow through really quickly. So let's get on the machine and get started. So you can see I've already knocked out a good number of my wiggles through here. I've knocked out a lot of these circles, all of the circles within this basket area, within the handle area, and I've knocked out my straight lines. We've done a lot of straight line echoing like this, so that's really review. And we've also stacked circles like this together too, but we're going to have a whole lot more in this block than we've ever had before. And I really want to encourage you to just kind of enjoy this process, swinging around, forming these circles. And I think that this is honestly one of the easiest places to put them. There are some seam allowances kind of in the in this other opposite area of the block, but as you're stitching along this edge, this feels nice and easy because there's very few seam allowances to get in your way and kind of cause trouble underneath your presser foot. So I'm swinging down and around, and remember those cheats that we've learned through this year. You can always fill a circle with a spiral, and I've done this on the corner because my circle just ended up a little wonky. You can also do underwater rocks instead. That's covering your circles with really messy echoes and travel stitching, just really free-form stitching. That will give you a totally different effect, and it'll also hide minor mistakes as well. So I think I'm going to go in and stitch down, and then I'm going to wiggle across and show you this wiggly design filling into this triangle. So I want to show you what it's going to feel like if you stitch this freehand. And of course, we're working off the corner of that triangle. That's a half square triangle. There's a lot of seam allowance there, even if you press your seams open. So as we get started, I kind of have to really be careful not to make really big giant stitches as I stitch out of that area of bulk. So now I'm wiggling down and up. I'm attempting to keep these lines of quilting about 1/4 inch apart. That's the way they were designed, that's the way they were kind of spaced out in the plan, and I'm trying to stick with that. Now I know that that line needed to come down and fill up that point, so I widened the line a little bit to make that happen. And now I'm going to make these go back to be a little bit more narrow. Understand that yes, I could have certainly marked that area and ended up with a much more, I guess you could say, perfect shape. You know, I've got some randomness in here now. I've got, you know, these are kind of the same size and same shape, which is good, and this one's a little bit wider. I don't think anyone's going to look at this and nitpick it, certainly not in front of me, I hope, so I'm not going to worry about that. I think that that kind of thing really adds to the design. I think it really makes it uniquely yours. So at this point, really it's just a matter of filling in more circles, and that's just carefully swinging around, careful travel stitching. I'm going to stitch a good number of these and just speed up the video so you can see how I flow through all of them. that's it for stitching circles and wiggles in our basket block. This was a lot of review, a lot of things that we've already learned before, but you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to stitch it perfectly. I stitched some of my circles a little wonky, I filled them with spirals, and that's, I think, the key. Rather than trying to attempt perfection with every single stitch or every single element or every single shape, instead just start looking and seeking those ways that you can hide your mistakes. I hide my mistakes in circles with a little spiral stitched in there. I'm sure that you're going to find something that works for you too. So play with it and have fun. My name is Leah Day, and this has been a video for the Building Blocks Quilt Along. Pick up your copy of the Building Blocks quilt pattern and join us as we learn how to piece and free motion quilt 42 blocks together. You can pick up your pattern at leahday.com. Until next time, let's go quilt.